Baby, you are now rocking with the best. You know what time it is. Bleav in Cowboys. You see the legend on the screen, Jesse Holley next to Ro Parrish. What's good, Jesse?
What's going on, man? It's another lovely day in paradise, man. Another lovely day in paradise. And it's any day that we're on this side of the dirt, It's a good damn day.
And let me just give a shout out to Mother Nature, because usually this time of year, we are upset. We are saying profanity. We're saying all types of things. We're doing things to stay inside. The weather has been magnificent in the Metroplex. I don't think we've seen over 100 degrees so far. It's been nice.
I said, you know what? Now that I think about it, you're absolutely right. If we have seen over 100, it's been a day. Normally about this time of the year, we're like, oh yeah, this is day 39 of it being 100 degrees or more. And, you know, stay inside and keep your pets off the gravel, and your grass is dead, and everything else is breaking down outside and melting. So you're right. You're absolutely right. The Texas weather been all right.
The weather has been all right. It hasn't been hot, but this Cowboys podcast is going to stay hot. Hot topic. Of course, you know, we always start the show this way. The latest on the Micah Parson situation, because when I say situation, we're talking about, hey, when's he going to get his money? Because he still ain't got his money yet. We originally set the date, Jerry, we want it done by July 4th. That clearly came and went. It's been a week since then. Now we're sitting here just a few days away from training camp beginning. And Jesse, hey, Micah Parsons had his camp. He said, hey, no matter what, I'm going to get mine no matter what, man. Your thoughts on Micah Parsons and his thoughts?
I love the quote. I love the quote. No matter what, I'm going to get mine. And he's absolutely right. As long as he has air in his lungs, he is going to get his. But I love the turn that he's made, because like early on in this process, he was saying a lot and he was meeting with Jerry and, you know, my guy Clarence Hill over at DLLS. He had, you know, he came out early on and had the specific quotes of that Micah and Jerry had a gentleman's handshake in the meeting of the minds about contract negotiations. And that was kind of Jerry's ploy of let me separate agent from player and see if I can't get him to agree upon something and push the agent to agree upon what he and I talked about, so we can get a favorable deal for the Dallas Cowboys. And you can tell by Micah, you know, David Malugetta, who is Micah Parsons' agent in it, and if you're following anything in the National Football League when it comes to players and contracts, then you know that David Malugetta is hands down the best agent in football right now. He is a shark when it comes to these deals. His name is on some of the top contracts in the league history that has gotten guys paid highest in league history, guaranteed money for position money, league history money. So, you know, Micah has kind of changed his stance. Well, I love the quote of I'm gonna get mine regardless. But the more you looked at the quote, he talked about, you know, that's between you know, David and Jerry, speaking of David Malugetta, and they'll handle that. And he's kind of separated himself from there. He's kind of given the fans early on the approach of, I want to be a team player, I want to be a media, I want to be here. I want you guys to know, because the Joneses and the Dallas Cowboys, they do a very good job of putting things out in the media to make the players seem as if they're the difficult ones in this contract negotiation process. And Micah's played his cards the right way. And now you're starting to see this is a business part of it. This is why I hired representation. I play football. David Malugetta handles the contract, but he's absolutely right. It doesn't matter what TJ Watt gets. It doesn't matter if Trey Hendrickson gets a deal. It doesn't matter, because honestly, Micah Parsons is shooting for whatever the highest number is outside of what a quarterback is getting. My name will be attached to it. So get Trey, get TJ, get all those. It doesn't matter. My bread is coming my way regardless.
David Malugetta, one of the best for athletes first, over 100 Pro Bowlers. We're talking about 8 Super Bowl MVPs, over 100 first-round picks, and one of those first-round picks, of course, was Micah Parsons, who had 12 sacks last season, only playing in, you know, he missed 4 games due to injury, so he's due money. He's been a Pro Bowler every single season, always flirting with the All-Pro recognition as well. He is a beast on the field, and like he said, I'm going to get mine, and he is definitely going to get his. And regardless, like you said, it doesn't matter what happens with TJ Watt and his contract situation. David Malugetta, he negotiates billions and billions and billions, and he gets his players paid.
No, he does. And if you're and not only does he get his players paid, but he does it in such a way that it is record setting. You know what I'm saying? Like he is all about getting the most money. And just a little bit of a sidebar, one of the clients that he brought on to Athletes First is, drum roll, Tyler Smith, the all-pro offensive guard for the Dallas Cowboys. You just saw what Trey Smith got in Kansas City. So if Jerry and company wants to change the narrative of them always being bent over when it comes to contract negotiations, because agents have figured them out. And that's the truth. The agents have figured them out and go, hey, if you're a really good player and you just wait it out, you'll get exactly what you want. And that's the way that they operate. But, you know, you saw what Trey Smith got in Kansas City, the right guard. You know, if Trey Smith got that, I think he and, you know, Tyler Smith are, you know, they're in that conversation of 1, 2, 3 best guards in the football. It would behoove the Cowboys to get going on Tyler Smith as well, because the number is only going to go up from here. So don't do what you did with Zeke and CeeDee and Dak and all the other players before them, and you waited and you got bent over the table when it came to the negotiations, and you paid the price. You paid the price with everything. And so while you're dragging your feet with this Micah situation, which it shouldn't be a drag your feet situation. Like the way that we operate in football today, this shouldn't be a drag your feet conversation. The blueprint is already there. Take the contract that the last guy got, add a couple more dollars to it, and move on. We've talked about this ad nauseum from a standpoint of it's not a hard contract to do. It's not. It's already been done for you. The group project work has already been done. You got to just sign your portion of it and hand it in and let everybody get the grade that they're supposed to get. But it's these things when you look at around the league, you know, the Jets, who have been a laughing stock in the National Football League the last couple of years, on the field and in the front office. They bring in some new people, and all of a sudden now, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, both 2 big-time deals right there. Why? Because they went and said, you know what, Sauce, we're going to make you one of the highest paid DBs this year, because we know if we wait 2 years when you're actually, you know, we could do it after 3, but if we wait 2 more years, the number that we're giving you today will be nothing to what the market will be 2 years from now if we waited. We plan on keeping you here. We want you a part of this organization. Let's sign you now. Garrett Wilson, same thing with you. We want you here. We want you a part of the organization. Let's not wait till your number gets up there and it's $50 million. Let's just go ahead and give you the $30-something million now, and get that locked in for the next couple of years. Like, these type of things aren't hard things to do, bro. It's like the Cowboys make them difficult.
Yeah, they do. And when we talk about Athletes First and David Milligetta, you said it very simply. Whenever they do deals, they make history when they do them. When I say Jordan Love, when I say Deshaun Watson, C.J. Stroud, T. Higgins, Jalen Ramsey, Antoine Whitfield, all these players signed mega deals. And
C.J. Horn, Derek Stingley. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah, so let's just go ahead and pin this in, because we know whenever Micah Parsons actually signs his agreement, it is going to be record-breaking. It is going to be earth-shattering. And Jerry Jones, it's better if you do it sooner rather than later.
Nah, in the words of Marlo Stanfield from The Wire, the price of the brick just keep going up. The price of the brick going up. It's just the longer you wait, the price of the brick is going up, man. It's just what it is.
Man, speaking about prices going up, we know that players get paid. We're all about players getting paid. We know that CeeDee Lamb has already got his bag. We know how that went. Again, the Cowboys took their time on paying them, but I digress. Let's go back to the topic, because the top 10 wide receivers, well, I mean, we all have our number 1 receiver, number 2 receiver, but when it comes to the list that is made, that's recently been released, execs, coaches, scouts, they have come together and ranked the top 10 wideouts for 2025. So a lot of you have already seen the list. No need to go through the whole list, but we know that CeeDee Lamb's coming at number 4. I mean, you can do a toss-up between Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, and all those guys are the best of the best. However, Jesse, I want your thoughts when it comes to CeeDee, just starting there. At number 4, he was number 4 last season as well. Is that accurate? Should he be higher or lower? Is he good where he just is?
I think 1 and 2, as you mentioned already, Ro, is kind of a lock, right? You can, as the young people say, you can argue with your mother if you want to. Well, 1 and 2 is Chase and Jefferson, right? That's just what it is. So I'm not arguing, that particular order. Where I do think there's some room for argument. There's some room for argument when it comes to, is CD number 3 above Tyreek Hill? Is CD good at number 4? Like, depending on who you are, where you want to argue it, there is room for argument there. There is room for debate on whether or not CD Lamb should be the number 3 receiver on this list. But man, when you look at Tyreek Hill, and I my co-host Jeff Kavanaugh on my DLLS show, we kind of had an argument a couple of weeks ago because he was like, well, because I was saying CD was 3. I'm like, CD's 3. I'm like, CD's 3, right? Like I think it's Chase, Jefferson, CD. And he goes, well, Tyreek Hill, don't forget about Tyreek Hill. And sometimes you forget about, because you hear some of the nonsense that's happening with him and the comments that he's saying, and then his quarterback with Tua Tagovailoa, who has the massive head injuries. Anytime he hits the ground hard, he could seizure up and be out. And so that situation in Miami just hasn't set well for Tyreek Hill. And then I'm kind of scrolling through Twitter the other day, and down in Florida, Chad Ochocinco had like a little bit of a wide receiver summit. You see the guys doing the sack summit and the offensive line summits and the tight end U and all that kind of stuff. So Chad got some of the guys together to come down to Florida, and I think it'll start to grow even more. And there was about 7 or 8 clips of watching Tyreek Hill run routes. And I looked at him and I was like, oh. And I immediately like, I copied the link and I sent it to Jeff, and I was like, you might have a little argument here. Because it is so, when you watch him, the level and speed, the speed that he runs with is incredible.
Man, hey, dude, you can talk about the speed. The speed is one thing. He is a difference maker. He's a game changer. He's a playmaker. We're talking about a wideout that just was in the conversation for winning the MVP in the last 2 seasons. Of course, everything depends on the quarterback situation. But then you go back to CD, who didn't have Dak for the majority of the season and was still able to produce at a very high level. So while I look at this list and I say, could it be higher than 4? I say, I don't know, because clearly we already know who's 1 and 2. Tariq has had quarterback issues as well, with Tua, as you mentioned, going in and out of the lineup. So number 4, to me, in my opinion, is not a bad spot. If you can be the Mount Rushmore of anything in your profession, 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't think you're in a bad spot.
No, that's a great point. And like I said, CD is like, these guys, we're talking about elite, right? Like what we're arguing is, we're arguing, different levels of elite. That part is understood, that all of these guys are playing at an elite level. And I love the analogy that you use, and I'm going to steal it on one of these shows this week. But anytime that you can be in the Mount Rushmore level of any position, you're pretty damn good. Like, you're pretty damn good. And that CD is definitely in that conversation. And, if was a 5th, we all be drunk, right? If Dak Prescott can stay healthy this year, I think you can see CD take that, because all he's done is this. Like, right, CD hasn't had a drop off. All he's done is continue to rise his game even more. And now that he'll have a counterpart opposite of him, and a guy like George Pickens that they brought over from the Pittsburgh Steelers, you can see now that CD won't have to carry such a hefty defensive load, meaning playing against 2 and 3 guys trying to eye him and cover him, that maybe now he's able to get even more of opportunities, and you can see those numbers go up and his level of play go up. So it's a great place to be in, and CeeDee Lamb has definitely etched himself in the conversation of being one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League last year, this year, and it looks to be many more years to come.
No question about it. Now, when we talk about the wideout that's now joining the Cowboys and George Pickens, he was honorable mention on the list. He didn't make, excuse me. Let me make sure I'm correct. He was also receiving both votes, which is the level beneath honorable mention. Not bad. Still, if you are in the conversations to be one of the best at your position, we already talked about the Mount Rushmore, but you can say arguably George Pickens is top 30, top 20 in the league as far as pass catchers go. So with that being said, we know that it's a contract year for George Pickens. We know that there are going to be plenty of opportunities with Dak being healthy. Question I have for you, do you see George Pickens cracking this top 10 next season? Are we saying he's top 10 this time next year?
Ooh, top 10. Let me just quickly read off who the top 10 guys are that we're talking about,
Run them down.
on this list, right? We just named off the top 4, right? So you Chase, you got Jefferson, you got Tyreek Hill, and you got CeeDee Lamb, right? Those are your top 4. Your number 5 guy on this list is A.J. Brown of the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 6, Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Detroit Lions. Number 7, Malik Neighbors. And this is a guy who, I know he plays for the Giants, but if you're a fan of good play, and for me, I'm a fan of good wide receiver play.
Oh man,
Malik Neighbors might be a guy who might find his way closer into that top 5 next year if he continues the trajectory that he's going on. Number 8, he was hurt last year, but Nico Collins is one of those steady Eddie dudes down in Houston. 9 is Mike Evans, the old dog, right?
The model of consistency in the NFL for the past decade.
Yep, and he will find himself in the Hall of Fame, 31 years old, when he's done playing 1,000 yards every single season that he's touched the football field. Garrett Wilson, who just got paid in New York, is number 10. And then you look at the honorable mentions, the players that they're saying, you know what, you're kind of hovering on that board is Terry McLaurin, Puka Nacua, Brian Thomas Jr., DK Metcalf, T. Higgins, and Devontae Adams. And so when you look at we're top 10, we're honorable mention, and then there's George Pickens and those that receiving votes. That's a large ask, right? That's a large jump that you're looking for George Pickens to make. And when I look at all of these names, especially the ones in the top 10, the one thing that you see, Ro, is you see guys who do more than just the vertical. Right? You see guys who do more than just a 50-50, more than just some of the slants and the go route type stuff. I think if George is going to take a significant jump, and don't get me wrong, what he does, like I played with Des Bryant. Like he was a teammate of mine, and Des Bryant wasn't a route runner, right? At all. But he was so dominant at the too good that nobody could run a slant and a back shoulder fade or a fade ball better than Des. But he was so dominant in that he had about a good 2.5, 3 year run where he was the most dominant receiver in the league by simply being able to do those 2 or 3 things.
Right.
I think George has some of that ability in the sense of he doesn't do a lot of things great. He does a little bit of things really, really, really well, and that's the slant and the jump ball. Now, you hope that being around a guy like CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott and Brian Schottenheimer, that he evolves his game and becomes more of a complete wide receiver. He has CeeDee Lamb opposite of him, so he'll get some pressure taken off of him, and he'll be able to operate a little bit more freely than he would have in Pittsburgh when he was the number 1 guy. But to go from being as a receiver that was mentioned to a guy in the top 10, that one I can't buy. That one I can't buy, but it doesn't mean that he won't have a great season. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it won't mean that he doesn't have a great season, but to get into the top 10, that's some lofty goals.
It's a tough ask. It is a tough ask. However, when you factor in the fact that you're going to have a quarterback that is the longest tenured quarterback of all the Cowboys, and Dak, we know when he's healthy, he's going to put up numbers. We already know that the attention defensively that CeeDee Lamb is going to draw. So when you have somebody on the opposite side who is, number 1, motivated, coming to a new team and playing in a contract year, I mean, to me, it's not far-fetched to say, okay, if Dak stays healthy, of course, now that is a big if, can he come in and make plays? Look at it like this. I mean, when we go back in the history of the NFL, you think about guys like Jerry Rice playing with the John Taylor. They clearly had a tremendous amount of success. Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, guys like that. And I know Travis Kelce isn't technically a wide receiver, but when you had him with Tyreek Hill, I mean, when you have 2 of the best at what they do playing together, you have a chance to have success. Now, I'm not saying Carl Pickens is in that. I keep saying Carl. I'm talking about his dad. When we talk about Pickens, can he be that strong number 2 that is a Pro Bowl caliber player that could potentially be in the argument to be in the top 10?
again, you keep trying to slide that top 10 in there, and I don't know if I can get. I can't get on record agreeing with that. I can agree to your first part. I can agree to your first part where George Pickens can play his way in this system with this quarterback, that a receiver opposite of him. He can play. He can definitely play his way into the conversation of being one of the top number 2. And let me say this, by the way. I don't give a damn what CD says. I don't give a damn what words they try to use or manipulate or move. He's the number 2. Okay. He's number 2 by skill set. He's number 2 by pay grade. You can number 1 be me all day you want. He's a number 2. And that's okay. That is okay. Don't try to sell me. We got 2 number 1s. No, you don't. No, you don't. Okay. The list shows you that. Okay. The 2 number 1s. No. You got a number 1, an elite dude, and named CeeDee Lamb. That's why he's paid the money that he's paid. That's why he's regarded as one of the Mount Rushmore type level of players in this list. And then you have George Pickens, another guy who has the ability to complement the other elite dude very, very well. So don't try to hit me with the minutia of we got 2 number 1. No, you don't. Okay, you have a clear-cut number 1. And then you have another guy who's number 2 who has some really, really, really good ability that will complement each other amazingly. So I can Bleav that George Pickens will be one of the top compliments to an elite receiver in this league. But again, to go from the list is, and this list is not Bible, right? Like this is not Bible. But again, to jump into the top 10, if that happens, if you got one dude who's already in the top 5 and you have another dude that by the end of the year has jumped into the top 10, when you and I are having this conversation in January, damn it, we better be somewhere headed to the destination of an NFC championship game or Super Bowl site. That's where we should be heading if you're telling me that this dude can jump into the top 10 at the end of the year and join the conversation with CeeDee Lamb and others. If that's the case, oh yeah, all right, cool. Then let me go ahead and start looking around and start booking some rooms because we're gonna be outside.
Listen, hey, we definitely gonna be outside because if they do that, number 1, you're not gonna have to look far because the Cowboys would be playing a home game for the NFC Championship. Then you're going out to the West Coast to the Yay area.
Yeah,
now you have to open up that pocketbook if you want to go out to the Bay for the Super Bowl. That's a different conversation. Let's get to
we're gonna put that on Bleav's bill. Bleav will take care of that. They'll take care of that. That's on the company right there.
No doubt. But no, I mean, all BS aside, if Pickens is able to elevate his level of play, that is definitely going to put the Cowboys in a situation to where they can be true contenders, not just on paper, this is our year contenders, but true contenders actually on the field.
No, you're right. You're right. And that part I agree with you 1000%. And I want to look back and say, you know what, Jesse, you were wrong. You were wrong. That's not a big ask. That's not a tall task. That's not some folk tale or some far reached idea. And that George Pickens is in that conversation at the end of this year. I want to be wrong so bad. And that he is up there because, again, he's a really good player, man. I don't want to take anything away from him. He's a damn good player. And if he can get to that spot, this Cowboys offense will definitely be one of the league. You're probably talking about Dak Prescott now being in an MVP conversation. If your 2 receivers are in the top 10 conversation at the end of this year, then that means you're doing a hell of a job getting them the football. And that means that these guys are both talking about, 1,000, 1,200, 1,300 yards apiece and, combined 17, 18, 19, 20 touchdowns. That's pretty damn good for a wide receiver duo. And that means that the quarterback is playing his tail off. And all of it sounds damn good to me.
Yeah, of course it does. Dak Prescott, I was just having a conversation with Nate Burleson, 11-year veteran wide receiver. Of course, we know him as the host of CBS Mornings and on NFL Today. I mean, he's like, listen, when it comes to Dak, we are still waiting for that signature playoff moment. Now, if he's playing at that level where he has a 1A, and just for the sake of conversation, I know you don't like it, but I'm just going to say a 1B. When you have targets like this, and you said he could have an MVP type season, he definitely will have an opportunity to have one of those signature playoff moments when you have these playmakers on the outside that can make your quarterback look even better than what he actually is.
No, you're absolutely right. And we haven't even spoken about, what that does for guys like Jake Ferguson, the tight end. When you got that coverage being focused on the outside guys of those two studs, that now leaves Jake Ferguson to have a bounce back year. He's a guy that can give you 700, 800, 900 yards receiving and another 5 or 6 touchdowns. And hopefully that opens up the running game for the Cowboys, where I don't believe that Javonte or Miles Sanders are going to be, one of those backs that just kill the league. But if they can be consistent, you're talking about now having a whole offense operating at a high level. And if you're doing that, and we know what it is when the Cowboys can get a lead and get up, and now teams have to play the Cowboys defense one arm behind their back and passing the ball only. Well, you just unleashed a guy like Micah Parsons, where he can go after the quarterback, pin his ears back, and that doesn't bode well for opposing teams' offenses. I don't give a damn who the quarterback is. You don't want Micah Parsons just having unlimited chances to run you down from either side of the defensive line. So, if the offense is playing well and they're scoring points and they're getting leads, that only helps the defense out. And when you have a guy like Micah Parsons, whose win rate off the line of the ball is tops in the league, who can get to the quarterback, who no one's going to no one's running away from him. He's going to run you down. And when he does, he gets there with bad intentions. And so that only helps his defense out. And now, create turnovers, all of them can work in the favor of the Cowboys if this offense can get itself rolling.
That's what it is right there. When we're talking about the offense, everything is potentially extremely complementary when we're talking about the potential that this Dallas Cowboys offense has, because if 1A and 1B,
wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2.
Hey, if they ball out together, we know, like you said, it's going to open up things in the middle for the tight end. It's also going to help the running game potentially, no matter who ends up being the starter or if they do running back by committee, which bodes well for the offense, which obviously bodes well for the defense as well, like you said.
No, and again, this will help out those that are looking at Brian Schottenheimer and what he's going to be able to do as a first-year head coach. So get these guys going, makes your job a whole lot easier.
Yes, indeed. And, of course, Bleav in the Cowboys, Ro Parrish, Jesse Holley. We're just having a good time again. Micah Parsons has not signed his agreement yet because he hasn't been offered an agreement. We're still waiting on that. Training camp is around the corner, and we have the top 10 wide receivers in the NFL. CeeDee Lamb, number 4 on that list. Below honorable mention in the receiving votes category is your man. Say his name because I'm going to mess it up.
George Pickens.
George Pickens. Yes, I'm going to get it right. I'm going to stop talking about his father, which dates me because I remember watching him play for the Cincinnati Bengals back in the day, but that's neither here nor there. So that's our time. Hey, Jesse, before we get up out of here, you got the floor. Any words for the people?
Man, you know what it is. Always, man, take care of your mentals and your dentals, brother. Always ask for help if you need it, because it's there for you to do it. You're not crazy. And always remember, man, eliminate the contingencies.
Yes, indeed. Love, respect, and salute.